Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. This is Living Divinity. I hope everybody's doing well today. Got me a new candle. Seems like with every reading, they just burn through so quickly. So I want to say thank you all for joining me. And I've been monitoring my channel, and I see that, I see that there's more viewing than who has subscribed. So thank you all for who have subscribed. I really appreciate you. And God is going to bless us all this year. Today's a very special, or this year is very special, right? It's about balancing out. It's about karma. It's about if you've done well in the past, and you tried to make yourself better and make your life better and have better choices, God is going to be blessing us all, right? So now I'm going to begin by reading Isaiah 60, the glory of Zion. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and the kings to the brightness of your dawn. Lift up your eyes and look about you. All assemble and come to you. Your sons come from afar, and your daughters are carried on the arm. Then you will look and be radiant. Your heart will throb and swell with joy. The wealth on the seas will be brought to you. To you the riches of the nations will come. Herds of camels will cover your land. Young camels of Midian and Ephah. And all from Sheba will come, bearing gold and incense, and proclaiming the praise of the Lord. All Kedar's flocks will be gathered to you. The rams of Nebaioth will serve you. They will be accepted as offerings on my altar, and I will adorn my glorious temple. Who are these that fly along like clouds, like doves to their nest? Surely the islands look to me. In the lead are the ships of Tarshish, bringing your sons from afar with their silver and gold, to honor of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for he has endowed you with splendor. So you see, I just randomly pick. God helps me choose the right passage for you all to hear. So take heed to the prayers, please, and to the words of the Bible. And a lot of people feel like when you say God, that like say, there's no pun intended, but say indigenous people, they call their God creator. People in what is it, like India, they could be Buddhism or Hinduism, right? And there is only one God. And when we speak of God, we always speak of love. And that's in every tribe, in every culture. When we speak of love, it has to do with God, right? Because God is love and love is God. So now that we covered that, and that is just my belief, okay? I'm not telling you that you have to believe what I believe. I'm just telling you from my heart, that's what I believe. So next, we're gonna read from the Divine Feather Messenger, and we pull 2 cards. Here's the first feather, and it is the magpie. And it talks about re-evaluating your priorities. Okay. So, you have a clear vision of the card. Let me get to the words in this book regarding the messages from the Divine Feathers. Okay, magpie. Magpie is a messenger associated in folklore with great luck and fortune. These highly intelligent birds are also extremely social. The magpie takes much time carefully building its nest with great attention to detail. Magpie is legendary for its attraction to shiny things, which it collects and hoards. Thus, the bird is associated with a tendency for materialism or valuing things for their appearance. The magpie feather is a reminder that the world we live in tends to be obsessed with materialism too. The black and white of magpie shows us how important it is to find balance in the duality of our earthly and spiritual paths. The message: magpie is reminding you that any obsession with material things or achievements will not nurture your spiritual growth or your spiritual path. The latest and greatest home, car, or gadget will not help you get any closer to true contentment. Now is a good time to reevaluate where you are and notice if you have become distracted by the accumulation of physical things. This messenger also brings the promise of good luck by way of magical opportunity. Finding a balance between the inner and outer worlds is the message of magpie. The energies: materialism, balance, good fortune. The seasons: spring and summer. The element is air. The color is black and white. The affirmation is: I seek only what is needed to stay balanced and true to my path. Okay, and that's not to say that God might feel like you deserve more, or he might see something in the future that he might want you to have an endeavor in, and some things do take money, so God is going to provide everything you need if you just have faith, if you just pray and believe, if your essence is operating out of a sense of love, a love for self, love for Heavenly Father, love for family, love for community, love in every aspect of your life. Okay, so next we have this feather, and it is the feather of the peasant. Okay? Peasant? I think it's pheasant. Okay, so let me read that to you. The modern pheasant is a larger bird that dwells in the hedges, brush, and grassy areas, first traced back in the area in Greece near the Phasis River, from which they derive their name. They are now considered a domesticated bird. For this reason, they have a symbolic association with family life and fertility. Their long tail feathers, commonly called plumes, are associated with sexuality, fertility, creativity, and the expression of this energy. Pheasant feathers are varied in stripes, tapering, and size, and are generally warm in coloration. These traits are also associated with feathering the nest or creating a vibrant, comfortable home life. The message: the divine messenger strolls in to share the gifts of renewed creativity and fertility in all aspects. Have you lost interest in a satisfying and fertile home life? With its warm colors and beautiful plumes, pheasant reminds us how important it is to have a place that feels harmonious and supportive. Not only do these energies enhance deeper connections with a partner, but they also provide fertile ground for creativity. Sexual energy is the creative force that manifests in many ways. It can generate new life in physical form or fuel creativity in projects and ideas. This may be an area you've neglected while busy working on other aspects in your life. Now is the time to stop and direct attention to your methods of connecting and creating. The energies: creativity, fertility, sexuality, the season all year round. Element: air, earth and air, the color brown, white, and cream. The affirmation is: I am vibrant, vital, creative, and alive. Okay, come on. Up, baby. Come on. Up. Up. Come on. Up. Up. Here. All right, sorry about that little interruption. My dog was needing me. So we have a lot of cards to go through, and we're with the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. So your first card is Firm Foundation. This speaks of you finding yourself, right? You're building your foundation. It could be in a business, it could be in your home, it could be in a relationship. And it's important to stay balanced. It's important to have even give and take. It's important to have boundaries, and it's important to communicate how you're feeling in a non-aggressive way to the people in your household that you love and care for. Sometimes we get all wound up about a situation. It could be any situation. But say if you're at work and you've had a really busy day, by the time you drive home, you want to have worked all of that out of your system, because you don't want to carry what's at work to your home, as well as you don't want to carry what's at home to your work. It's the divide of your life, right? You don't want to mix too much of both together. And the reason being is your home is supposed to be a peaceful place, and not always is work peaceful, right? So stand firm on building your foundation and having your set roles that you and your significant other are in total agreement with. Love, respect, honor. Okay? Next we have prosperity begins. So you have your foundation. You know that you might have some ideas of what you want to do to make money. Normally, it's really difficult if both parties are in this creative phase where we put all our energy to creating and not having like a stable income. So we have to find a balance there, and it has to be a good work, like solving a problem, right? It takes the fraction, or it takes the multiplication, or it takes the addition to complete it. 2 + 2 = 4. That's a completion of a math problem. So when you want to focus on prosperity, when you are in alignment, when you have your ideas and you want to bring them to life, God will make a way for you to make your ends meet. And if you are on this spiritual journey with your significant other, try not to worry about how much you have or how much you don't have, because God is always going to provide, right? And when we are grateful and we show gratitude for each other, right? The prosperity, when we plant our seeds and we nurture the ground and we make sure it has plenty of water and sunlight, it will be fruitful. Next, we have disruption. Disruption seems like a crazy card, right? It's like, it could be looked at in several different ways. You're on your path, all of a sudden, you got to carry all these bricks. What are you going to do about all those bricks? Are you going to carry them until your back breaks? Or are you going to decide which bricks are important to carry and which bricks are you going to set down so you can move forward, right, and keep moving? So when I see this disruption card, I feel like if this is in your home and you and your significant other are constantly arguing, constantly fighting, never coming to agreement, and if you come to agreement, how much water does that agreement hold? So God will actually have a disruption and he will force you to be in a position where you pretty much sink or swim. And it's your natural, it's your spirit that wants to swim, right? It doesn't want to give up. So again, if you're carrying too much, if you're the only one carrying, and your significant other is not even in the picture to give you assistance, God's telling you to drop your load and move forward. Next, we have the universe. The universe talks about when you live in your truth, when you have your self-love, when you've taken time to heal yourself, when you've taken time to look at things from a different perspective. So if you're at the ground level and say you're at an airport, you're not going to see too much. You're going to see a building and you're going to see a couple big planes, and everything, the rest of your view is going to be blocked. So a different perspective would be if you were able to fly above the airport and look over the grounds, right? You'll be able to see a different perspective. You'll be able to see things that you couldn't see when you're on the ground. The universe is asking you to take the time you need to look for the different perspectives. Look at what the situation was or currently is, depending upon who you are. And ask yourself, have I done everything that I can to keep this together? Have I communicated in a loving way? Have I given it time for those to readjust, including yourself? And I don't think the universe wants you to beat up anybody, like physically, emotionally, or spiritually, as well as you shouldn't have to be beaten up physically, spiritually, or mentally, right? So when you get the different perspective, you have to decide what is right for me. And the universe always wants you to choose yourself first. And it goes back to if you were a paramedic and you were on a helicopter and you had to do what those Coast Guard guys do, They go to a sinking ship. Depending upon the ship, how many passengers need to be saved, you can either stay there and try to save them all and risk in your life. And it's already a risk for you to take this kind of charge and jump into the water and swim to the boat and get on the boat and get into the cage and get the people in the cage and up to the helicopter, right? You can only do this so many times before the ship sinks. So you have to choose yourself eventually, and the ones that you want to save first are the ones that are handicapped usually, right? Or the ones that are injured. And then you work as the ship is sinking and how fast the helicopter can propel you down and up along with the people you're saving. Next, we have new beginnings. Once you have chosen yourself and you got out of this, whenever there's a death of a relationship, a death of employment, a death of a loved one, you have to move on. You have to look at what you learned and not be bitter about it, no matter how good or bad it was. Think about what you gained from that time. It's sort of like me being in the service. I went in, I did 4 years. I chose a lifer job, which was a torpedoman's mate. Now, I thought that I would do 20 years. Seems kind of easy to do, but it turned out it wasn't working for me for various reasons. But after I got out of my 4-year term, I had a new beginning. So in that sense, it had to do with the job. New beginnings, you wake up every day to a new day. That's a new beginning. it's a time to make a choice. If I review my past and I say, oh, I didn't do this quite right, or somebody did this to me, and how did I react? I have to look at it from an objective point of view and try to take any lessons that I learned. And people are either a lesson or a blessing in your life, or they are both. But the new beginning says you've come so far in reviewing how you've lived, and you're ready to make changes. So yes, God is going to be there to help you with your new beginning. The next card is power, strength. When you're going through a bad situation, you say, dear Lord, I can't bear anymore. When is this going to be over? How is this going to end? Am I going to be left with nothing and have to rebuild again? God's going to make sure you have the strength, and you have to make sure that you're accepting the strength. You have to make sure that you are still fighting for your life. Every day is like, you can choose to live or you can choose to die, right? You can choose to stay where you're at, or you can choose to move forward. And when I say stay where you're at, it means like mentally, right? To me. And it could be physically, but just on the mental level. Last week I did A, B, C, and D. I need to muster the strength within me to proceed to the next week, to accomplish these other things that are meaningful to me. And if you're at a dead-end job, for example, you still have to go do that meaningless job and do the best job that you can. So have the strength to keep going. Have the strength to live your life the way that you choose to live your life. Next is the solar plexus chakra. Now, I believe that's the one that has to do with sensuality, and let me just read it to you because I want to make sure I'm telling you right. Okay, yellow, ram, fire, adrenal, I can. The solar plexus is located between the navel, just below the rib cage. It represents power, vitality, willpower, self-esteem, and confidence. The energy center where your emotions and feelings are recorded. This chakra is associated with clairsentience, inner feeling, which is a major psychic reception area. To balance the chakra, you may want to try yoga, dance, movement, or breath work with color. In addition, be aware of people who drain your energy. Workshops and classes that focus on empowerment will help you and harmonize this area. So again, power, right? The chakra has something to do with power. So it might be a message for someone out there to regain your strength there, and don't give your power away. Hold on to your power. Don't be so generous with your power, especially if people are taking it and not returning it, and then you're ending up drained, right? Because you'll be draining your life force. Heartache and loss. That's also a 3, and this is a 3. Been forgetting to say the numbers, but heartache and loss. With every heartache and loss comes lessons, comes growth, comes knowledge, comes wisdom. And you have to take the heartache and the pain out of it as much as you can. You have to learn to train your mind not to be cold or heartless, but just to heal and move forward and accept things as they are. And heartache and loss. You see, it looks like she's praying, right? She's in a dark place, but her mind is somewhere else. Her mind has light to it. She's not really in the dark. She just thinks she's in the dark. Next card we have is Love Begins. So again, we have another one that says love prosperity, right? Where is that? prosperity begins. So because you've taken the time to reaffirm your foundation, realize that a weak foundation doesn't hold much. It doesn't hold enough to keep something going. You've had this disruption in your life. God's telling you to start a new beginning. He's trying to tell you, make the moves. I got you covered. And this could be a card about loving yourself. It could be about pouring into yourself, into your river, into your life cycle. Now, if you look at it, looks like there's two hands, right? They have different sleeves, so they might be two different people. It might be you're coming into union with someone who the universe is saying, this is the right one for you. Whatever you left behind, whatever I forced you out of, whatever you're feeling sorrowful for, that wasn't the one for you. That wasn't the job for you. That wasn't the person for you. That wasn't the location for you. Whatever this means to you, I pushed you out of there for a reason. Because I have something better for you. Now you have a new beginning in love. Could be with an old friend. It could be an old relationship that you want to renew. It could be if you've been distant from one of your children, you're reuniting with them. It could be with a parent, and it could be with a loved one that you want to marry in the future. So it's going to resonate different for everybody. So let's move on. Transformation. Transformation is something we do quite often. And the reason being is nothing in this world stays stagnant. You know, even a swampy pond could be considered stagnant, right? You have water laying around, you have mosquitoes growing, you have peat moss growing or moss, and depending upon what cycle of the year it is, that pond will transform in different ways in every season. So transformation is something we should look forward to. It should be something that we have a little checklist. Last year, I did this to help me mentally, physically, and spiritually. This year, I want to try to do this to help me to keep growing, to stay on balance, to keep my chakras aligned, to stay in line with the divine, right? The divine, God, Creator, Heavenly Father. To transform is just readying yourself for the best you. Partnerships and alliance. So this could be in business or it could be in a relationship. Now it looks like there's a lady's hand coming down because she has a bracelet, and the man, he's got a tattoo. So it could be two people are destined to be together to do this spiritual work, and they will have success because the universe says so. So this should resonate for you or it should not resonate for you. It's going to be different for everybody. Next, we have obstacles and challenges. So if this is your true person, and the universe is telling you that, and you're transforming so that both of you vibe together, so you can really have a true love. Other people will put these obstacles and challenges in front of you. Now, say if, well, you could be any sex, okay? It doesn't matter, but we'll just say a man, just to simplify it. say a man who is used to having many women at his beck and call. He can't have true love and have that as well. So when people see you, they already know, like spiritually, like at what level you could be when you mature, blah, 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 you know. It's the essence of the person. So to me, this tells me that almost like it could be like witchcraft, right? Let's put him to the test. Let's bring in Susie and Joanne and Martha and whoever else and see if we can get him off of his path. All he has to do is hop over, but if we put all of these pretty things in front of him, these shiny things in front of him, he might change his mind. He might forget. Oh, I'll just leave that one behind. Look at all my choices. Right? So it's a matter of knowing that you will be tempted to do wrong, to get in the way of this. You have to be strong enough. You have to have your own strong, firm foundation in who you are, where you're going, and what you want to do in your life to move past these obstacles. Okay? Because the universe has your back. So don't be afraid. Don't fear what's ahead. And the people that are putting things in your path is obviously some sort of deceit or manipulation. Don't be a taker of that. Next, we have emotional loss. Wow, I used to have this. This is what I used to love to do. Although it's kind of tiring, am I going to be able to function with just this? Your emotional loss. You have to realize that taking a leap of faith, deciding that you want better for your life instead of every night a different fling, right? You have to let go of that attachment. You can hold on to that attachment if you want, but then it's always going to be in the way. It's always going to be on your mind. This is not going to be that strong. The universe has been telling you for some time, right? Move forward. Transform into the person that you need to be on this path. I'm letting you know what steps to take to firm up your foundation, to firm up who you truly are. What are you supposed to be doing? What is your purpose in life? Next, we have memories of love. Are these memories of a past lover that you're trying to reignite? Or is it the memories of what you believe to be love, which is all the shiny, all the ones that you don't have to put much work into? You go to them, you tell them your story, they drop their pants or panties. Is that the memories that you have, that you're thinking about? Or is it someone from your past that you really know that you loved from first sight and you abandoned them for all the free shiny things you didn't have to put any work in? Heightening your awareness. Figuring out, looking at all the people that are surrounding you. What parts do they play in my life? Are they really significant to the best me that I could be? Do I have even give and take with them? Am I constantly giving because I'm a good person and they see me as someone weak? I have to make sure that I have my strength. I have to make sure I see things correctly. I have to release attachments, whether it's alcohol, bar hopping, drugs, I don't know, third-party sex things, you know. What in my life do I need to change to get on the path of my purpose? And I have to be aware of everybody around me, and I have to make sure that they do not stop me from where I need to go. And I need to go there for myself, not for anybody else. Next, we have spiritual strength. So we have 2 strength cards here. Spiritual strength. Once you pass the test, you passed the test. God is testing you all the time. You know, the saying my grandma used to say is, pretend as if someone's watching you when you're alone. Because God's always watching you. He knows when you lie to people. He knows when you deceive people. He knows who you're supposed to be. He knows that it takes time to learn lessons. God knows everything about you. But how much of yourself do you know about yourself? If you knew who you really were, you would understand that the purpose is to be stronger than the average. The purpose is to be wiser than the average, to have more knowledge, to have learned actual lessons and leave the negativity behind. And the spiritual strength is what God gives you every time you pass one of His little tests. And some of the tests can be biggies, right? Next, we have fertility. She is considered the feminine power. Each of us have male and female within us. The green is like the heart chakra. She is so aware. God protects her because she has done everything that He asked her to do. So if you're divine feminine out there, congratulations. You've kept yourself sacred. You've kept prayers up. You kept praying for people. You kept praying for people who hate you because you're full of love and you're full of abundance. And when you are aligned, the abundance will come to you. She doesn't have to do anything. Everything will come to her because she's aligned with God's wishes, what God expects her out of her, and she tries to live as holy as possible. Next, we have fulfillment of wishes. If you're a divine feminine or a divine masculine out there, if this is her to you, and you know that you share a magical connection that, you know, you might ask your friends, why do I keep thinking about her? Why is she always on my mind? She's thinking about you, so you're thinking about her. You guys have like this transmitter that only you two know about. Only certain people God gives this power to have that connection of that super, super, super duper real love that's unexplainable. And so you must know that God already has her waiting for you, and it's time for you to move forward. This is a 9, so the 10 is next. There's a little treasure box there. It's time for you to get to your full fulfillment of wishes. You got water on both sides. You got the sun behind you, over you. You got the leaf of growth, and he's carrying scrolls of special words, right? Special words, divine words. Next, we have moving on. You're deciding, you've been contemplating the emotional loss that you were feeling. Maybe you were feeling that when Divine Feminine walked out of your life. I don't know, it's your story, okay? Maybe you're feeling that way, saying, you know, I had all these people at my beck and call, you know. Can I just live with this one person and be happy? So if you're questioning that, then she's questioning you. And vice versa. If she's questioning, can I really do this with this guy that God says is for me? He is automatically going to know, because he already knows what you're thinking. He already knows how you're feeling. He knows when you cry. He knows when you're sad. He knows when you're happy. That's the connection. So you're deciding to move on from the life you used to know, because you see the bigger picture. You see that humanity is something you always wanted to do, but you were just, you had all these people around you to make you fear it, to make you fear your own strength, your own power, your own light. And now you're learning that the universe has got you, gave you spiritual strength, wants you to have this beautiful love. The beautiful love is going to help change the world. Okay? You have to share that love with the world, as in telling your stories, how you came about to where you were, how you grew up, things that happened in your life that negatively impacted you, things that happened in your life that positively impacted you, and things that you are thankful and grateful for. And always the first thing you should be thankful and grateful for is God Almighty, right? Movement, choices, decisions. So you decided to move forward. You saw a vision of this beautiful woman that you instantly had love for. You actually tried to fight it for a long time. God has pushed you to transform. The universe is always with you. Whatever you need, you ask. And the partnership. And the firm foundation you have. So what are your choices here? Looks like money, marriage, growth. And that looks just like clouds looking up to heaven. So you have choices to make, and they're going to come in particular orders, or God is going to just rain down all of his glory upon you so that you can be a speaker, a warrior of love. Next, we have wisdom. After everything you've gone through, after everything you've learned, you now become the teacher. All the years of your life, you were the student. God has propelled you to have all the wisdom you need, and he will guide you and give you more wisdom along the way. But for starters, everything that you've gone through in the first 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your life, wherever you're at, you can now become the teacher. And when we talk about teaching, we talk about teaching generational, right? So we don't want to just talk to a bunch of old people, which is nice to do. It'd be like getting them ready to make transitions to better their lives while they're getting ready to go on to the next life. So that would be very important to help these people know that there is life after death. it's good for the people your age because they're still trying to figure things out. If you're in your 30s or 40s or even your 50s, you know, sometimes people just haven't figured out who they're supposed to be, what their purpose is, how are they supposed to manage. A lot of people are like on a roller coaster going up and down the wave of life, right? But God has saw to it that you have learned a lot, say in the past 5 or 10 years. Now, you're no longer the student, you're the teacher. Next, material and spiritual prosperity. So, it is said that we should never ask for more than we can, we should never ask for more than what we need. It's a matter of appreciating everything you have, even the smallest thing, you know. Thank God that I have soap to wash my body. Thank God I have hot water. Thank God I have food in the fridge. You know, every time you're thankful, it builds your spiritual prosperity up. It's like, say, a piggy bank, right? Every time you say, thank you, God, there's little coins going into this bank. It's your reward for speaking on God's behalf, of living as close to God as you possibly can, every step of the way, every aspect. And He will give you material and spiritual prosperity. What happens when you become a millionaire or a billionaire? If you decide to say, oh, God, He didn't have anything to do with it, it was all me. You never want to do that. Even if you just have the simple life of having a car that runs and all of your bills paid, but you don't have that much money to maybe get something extra that you really kind of wanted, right? If you decide at any point, God has nothing to do with any of this prosperity I have in my life, He will let you know. He will let you know that when He takes you to a high spot for all to see, you have to stay on your path. You have to be dedicated and committed to who you are, who your soul really is. You have to stay committed to the love that you have inside your heart that God has given you. God has forgiven you. God has provided for you. God sees that you have everything you need. So as you are climbing the ladder of life, always be thankful, because in a blink of an eye, it could just be gone. And you could be standing there wondering what the heck happened, knowing that you spoke negative about God, knowing that you just put Him in a box and said, you know, He doesn't really matter. I did this all on my own. The praise always has to go to God. Rejoice in celebration. Now, when I look at this, even though God's hand is not, you would think that God's hand's here, but I think of this as this being God's cup, right? And it could be celebrating. There's 3 hands there, which drives me crazy, but I can't interpret that. I can only tell you that a celebration means more than 2 people, and you're celebrating life. You're celebrating a certain milestone, a certain achievement, and that's all good. But we always have to know that God put us there. God gave us this opportunity. God saw that it flourished. Next, we have intuition. Intuition is that gut feeling. Intuition is kind of, it's like being a seer, right? And then speaking about it. I told a photographer friend of mine, I said, your work is really good, and you seem to really love what you do. And I said, I see you in the future, traveling to different locations, people calling you up and saying, hey, you know, going to fit the bill for your whole family. Come out. I want you as my photographer. I'm not sure if that's happened for him yet, but that's what I sort of professed. I didn't sort of profess, I actually professed it. I said the words. When God brings it into fruition, then it'll be one thing that I can give the thanks to God for the intuition, to inspire him who's already aspired to do this photography work that he just loves so much. Maybe one day he'll become famous and be able to break away from the normal 9-to-5 job. Rest and rejuvenation. After going through everything that you've gone through, all the mental training that you've changed your life, you've changed from negative to positive. You stopped being the one that blames everybody else. You started accepting your part in the role that you played. God knows that. And he's telling you, you've come so far. It's time to rest and rejuvenate. I've got so much for you coming up. So go ahead and rest and relax for a while and meditate on what I've already given you and how far you've come. Are you the same person you were last year or the year before? How have you changed? How have you become a better person, more balanced, more in the thought process instead of just going off and then getting upset and ranting and raving, right? Accelerated motion after the rest. Get ready. It's going to be exciting. Look to your future as being everything you could ever dream of, everything you could ever want. The things you could dream of, the things you could want, have to be pure. They can't be, oh, look at me. I'm at 8. Now God's going to grant me everything I want. I want 10 men for me. 1 for each day and then 3 for extra. No, it can't be anything like that. It has to be things of that are godly, things that are spiritual, things that help the world become a better place. Financial and material changes. So if you've been struggling, know that your struggle may very well be over in the future. Could happen today, could happen tomorrow, could happen next week. There's still work to be done. You got to put the work in to see the fruits. Have you put in all the work? Is there more work for you to do? Recognition and reward. When you start standing up for yourself, when you realize that people have been manipulating you, have been pushing you in the corner, have been trying to dim your light, when you stand up for yourself, see the holy light coming down? You see, he has his head bowed. He's like, thank you, God. Have I really done a great job? All I did was stand up for myself. That's a big milestone. That's something to, you've earned your self-respect. You've earned your self-integrity. You've earned that you have value. Of course, God's going to recognize you and reward you. Silly. Suffering in silence. You're saying, God has blessed me. God has got me going in the direction that really makes my heart sing. Why in the world was I suffering in silence? God had me the whole time. I'm going to put this to rest. I'm going to fight temptation because my path, the bigger picture, to do humanitarian work of my choosing that God will support. I will not let anything get in the way. I will always be thankful for God in my life. I will always go to Him first. I will not just jump into something without God's permission. The crown chakra, that's at the top of your head, the closest part that has your antenna that goes straight to the divine. If He hasn't opened it up for you, it's coming. Hang on. It's your destiny. Did someone tell you it was already written in the stars? Did someone tell you you were supposed to bear a son that's supposed to do great things in the world? Did someone tell you every time people do things wrong to you and you don't give any energy to it, God is going to repay you in a tremendous way, and those that came against you will get their just reward? You've gone in solitude many times. You've tried to sort this out because nobody understands what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're going through, because they weren't destined to be on this path. So that would be like you need framing done on your house. You're not going to go ask a concrete guy, right? Because a concrete guy only knows about concrete and rebar. All right? And if there's no framing guy around, you have to go into solitude and figure it out. Who can I get to help me? What are the things that I need? How can I move forward in a positive manner? And of course, it doesn't have to do with building a house. It could, but solitude is something special just for you. So you can regroup and get ready to repunt, right? Get out in the playing field, but sometimes you have to take a rest. And what will you get? You'll get triumph. God is going to see to that when you open your heart up, when you thank God, when you actually can stand in front of other people. You know, I've been a lot of places. I've done a lot of things. You know, I never thought of thanking God. You know, I've got to travel the world. You know, I've got to taste all these flavors of women. And God kept one especially for me. And I'm going to go get it because she's part of my future. She's part of my destiny. So, everybody, we're at 58 minutes in. Thank you. I hope this resonated for someone. Please like, share, and subscribe for the algorithm of the channel. I'm sending you love, light, peace, harmony, joy, and, of course, healing. Love and healing and peace. God bless. We'll see you on the next one. Aloha.